prior to after, obviously, but now that I understand how difficult he is to deal with, there's no one else like him. You can't prepare for him, even at
his age,
even at an elder version of him.
It was pretty cool to see, and honestly, even with the majority draw, it's a win for Manny, because damn, if he can do that off a 3-year layoff at 46, that's pretty telling for one, where the sport of boxing is when a world champ can't beat 46-year-old politicians.
Manny, you can't come out of retirement because this guy is so bad. Like, that fired him up a little bit, and then he goes in the ring and he does nothing. He goes in the ring and like I thought it was an embarrassing performance from a 30-year-old champion.
Many fighters are honestly scared of Manny Pacquiao's return because even at 46, he still moves like he did in his younger days. Sean Porter saw him train and watched his fight with Barios, and he firmly believes Pacquiao is still at the top of his game. His speed, footwork, and energy haven't dropped even with age. Rivals are worried that the legendary Pacquiao hasn't slowed down and can still take on the best fighters out there right now.
What do you think about the overall matchup?
Everything, man. I watched him train like last week or the week before, and amazing to see him still move and bounce and do all the same things that he was doing in camp years ago when I was with him. So he's still locked in. He's still him, Crazy, but he is. You know what they say, man. The last thing to go is that power.
Chris Algieri, who once faced Pacquiao when both were at their peak, brings a unique and respected view. He says there's something special about Manny that age just can't touch. While most fighters slow down over time, Pacquiao still gives even younger opponents a tough time. Algieri calls him one of the hardest fighters to train for. He's quick, explosive, unpredictable, and always pushing forward. He believes Manny's age doesn't matter because he has both a physical and mental edge that no training camp can fully prepare for. To Algieri, Pacquiao's return isn't just real, it's a serious threat to anyone who faces him.
Prior to after, obviously, but now that I understand how difficult he is to deal with, there's no one else like him. You can't prepare for him, even at
his age,
even at an elder version of him.
In his bout with Mario Barios, Pacquiao surprised everyone by showing just how much of his signature style he still had. At 46, many expected a legend past his prime trying to relive old glory. But instead, fans saw sharp footwork, quick combos, and smart movement, everything that once made him a feared champion. What really stood out was how close each round was. Even when he didn't win them, they were tightly contested. His timing, control in the ring, and endurance were all impressive. While Barrios was favored because of his youth, he often found himself reacting instead of leading. It was clear Pacquiao wasn't just in the fight, he was still fighting at a top level.
I think Manny's always been good at that. And my son really pointed it out perfectly. He was still good at it. He was still good at it. I think he was stealing some rounds at the end. Whether he deserved them or he didn't deserve them, whatever. They were close rounds. He might have stole them on the judges' cards. What we shouldn't forget is he's a special guy, and he put a special performance. I never saw calves on the legs of somebody that big. I mean, it's incredible. I thought early on he stumbled a little bit. I thought his legs were stumbling a little bit, like you might see in a 46-year-old, a little bit. But at the end, they got the act together. He used them pretty good. He used them pretty damn good. What I think he also did was maybe a little bit of, I think the word illusion is too powerful, but I'd say a little misleading, where he threw those real fast punches like my son said. They weren't quality punches like they used to be, where there was real impact and real power at the end of them. They were more like just quick punches. And they weren't all being impactful. They weren't all landing clean. Some did, but they weren't all landing clean. And they definitely weren't landing with real power. They really weren't.
Social media star and fighter Salt Papi shared a strong opinion about a possible rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. He pointed out that Manny still looks sharp, active, and mentally focused, while Mayweather has been out of real competition for years. Salt Papi believes that if they fought again now, the result would be very different from their 2015 match. This time, Manny's pace, energy, and hunger could outmatch Mayweather's slowing reflexes. While Floyd has stayed unbeaten through exhibitions, Salt Papi thinks Pacquiao's true comeback makes him the more dangerous fighter today.
Have you spoken to Manny recently? I know you're friends with him.
No, I haven't spoken to him, no.
What would you want to see him do next?
Fight Floyd Mayweather or Gervonta Tank.
You think he beats Tank, a near prime Tank Davis?
Like, we'll see. Like styles make fights, so we just don't know.
What about Mayweather versus Pacquiao II?
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. Yeah, like Manny is still active. So.
Okay.
Pacquiao's showing against Barios was a clear reminder of why he's considered a once-in-a-generation fighter. Every time Barios tried to step in, Manny fired back with 2 or 3 quick, sharp punches. His pace, energy, and footwork were a clear contrast to Barrios' more cautious and reactive approach. What really stood out was how young Pacquiao's movement still looked. His legs never stopped, constantly creating angles and openings. Many fans and analysts even questioned the final decision, noting that Pacquiao's aggression and high punch volume easily outshined Barrios' limited responses. It wasn't just impressive for his age. Pacquiao showed he still belongs among the elite.
That's not what happened. Barrios was so tentative in this fight. He was essentially standing there for some of the exchanges. Manny Pacquiao came out and did what Manny Pacquiao does. By the way, credit to Manny. At 46, he still had some feet. He was moving, dancing on Mario Barrios. He was throwing combination punches going forward on Mario Barrios. And when he wasn't doing that, he was countering Mario Barrios, who looked like a stick in the mud. He looked like he couldn't even get out of first gear because Manny was hitting with combinations. Were they hurting super bad? Maybe not. Some of them definitely were. Had a mouse under the eye of Mario Barrios, but others were just flurries, and they were keeping Barrios at bay. And when Barrios was throwing 1, Pacquiao was throwing 3. When Barrios would throw out his jab, Manny would counter with his lead right hand, stepping on the inside plane, doing all the old Manny shit. It was pretty cool to see. And honestly, even with the majority draw, it's a win for Manny, because damn, if he can do that off a 3-year layoff at 46, that's pretty telling, for one, where the sport of boxing is when your world champ can't beat 46-year-old politician Manny Pacquiao, but 2, just how great he was. 8 division world champion, started his career at 106, I think, comes up to 140.
Money might be his main reason. With his incredible career, global fame, and record as an 8-division world champion, he has nothing left to prove. He could easily enjoy retirement without risking anything. But his decision to return has raised concerns. Skeptics say the dangers of boxing grow with age and that the risks now outweigh any reward. In their view, no amount of pride or legacy is worth getting back in the ring, unless there's a huge paycheck on the line.
Manny Pacquiao, crazy for coming back and fighting, is because they don't understand what's going on in Manny Pacquiao's life. When a fighter is 46 years old, he doesn't just come back to fight a top fighter because he just wants to fight a top fighter. When he's going through that, that's what's brought him to that place in the first place. And that is having what we call bandwidth extension. He's totally scattered his brain and lost so much money over the course of time. And the same thing that happens when you get a paycheck and you start spending, and because you get shiny object syndrome. You want to get the new watch. You want to get the new gear. You want to eat at the restaurant. You want to go spend money. That's shiny object syndrome. And you can't get it under control the same way that Manny Pacquiao did. He couldn't get things under control. So therein lies the situation where all of that money that he's made, hundreds of millions of dollars, just burnt. And now you got to fight. But if you really stop focusing on the symptom and start concentrating on the root of this thing, and the root of this thing is bandwidth, shiny object syndrome, trying to be so relevant in so many different scenarios. You want to train, you want to run this other business, you want to do this, you got this great idea. And it all boils down to the term that I use all the time, and that's compensatory control, laser focus. Get one idea, follow through with that idea. You got to have a plan in order to do it. And that's how you get to from here to here. That's when you're 46, you don't have to fight anymore. And that is my message today. Just understand why you're scattered. Understand why you can't get anything going all the way through. You can never finish that thought process and execute the plan. And therefore, you continue to find yourself in a situation where you're desperate. You're trying to find a way to get back to where you were, which is even. But if you stay locked in and concentrate on the compensatory control factor of your life, which is doing everything that you think of every single day the exact same way, and I take 1 minute and go to that playlist.
But Pacquiao has always pushed back against the idea that money drives his comeback. Over time, he's become known not just for his skills in the ring, but also for his generosity outside of it. From funding hospitals to helping with disaster relief in the Philippines, Manny has consistently given back. He often says he fights for his people, not for profit. According to him, this return is about passion, legacy, and inspiring others. He wants to prove that age doesn't matter when your heart is still in it. For Manny, greatness has no expiration date. Now that the Barios fight is over, talk about who he'll face next is dominating boxing headlines.
When I became a world champion, then I realized that this is the time that I can help my family. Before that, we don't have food to eat in one day. We just drink a lot of water to survive. And I remember one time, my young brother is 5 years old back then, and he was crying like in the afternoon, 1:30 in the afternoon. He's crying because he's hungry. He's asking for food. We don't eat breakfast. We don't eat lunch. He don't understand what is. When you're telling him no money, we have no money to buy food, and he's crying like, "Mom, I'm hungry." Like he's crying. Then I look to my mom and look at his eyes, and it's the tear flow in his eyes, and then I feel so sad and like. And of course, I'm crying also because hungry. We drink water just to survive. That's our past, so that's why I always told them that, Manny Pacquiao is Manny Pacquiao, but I don't have the right to become arrogant, to become boastful. I want to stay humble because we've been there. We came from nothing.
Rolly Romero has become a leading candidate for Pacquiao's next fight, especially after training clips surfaced showing him already getting ready. His team seems excited about the potential matchup, and Romero himself has said it would be an honor to face a legend like Manny. At the same time, other names like Gervonta Davis have been mentioned, but that fight seems less likely for now due to issues with promotion and timing.
No. Tira los golpes largos, men. Porque si da paso ya te pega mucho. No, quédate atrás, men. No te quedas ahí. Quédate ahí parado ahí donde tú estabas.
Boxing Doctor News, Manny Pacquiao's next potential opponent is Rolly Romero, the WBA welterweight champ. Romero is under the same promotion, has the belt, and can sell a fight. He's eager to face Pacquiao, saying, "A Hall of Famer on my resume. Who wouldn't want that?" After Pacquiao's draw with Barios, his advisor sees Romero as the favorite for Manny's next bout. Romero has knockout power and isn't afraid to bring the heat. Is this the explosive matchup fans have been waiting for?
Some fans still hope for a rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, confident that Floyd would win again. But they often ignore the fact that Mayweather is not only older than Pacquiao but also much less active. He hasn't faced real competition in years, focusing instead on safe, high-paying exhibition fights. A fight with Pacquiao now wouldn't be like it was in 2015. Back then, Manny was coming off a shoulder injury and wasn't in his usual rhythm. This time, he'd be fast, focused, and fighting with nothing to lose, a version Mayweather might not want to face.
And we will see what transpires, but all these people out here saying that the fight was fixed, a lot of these people were not fans of Manny Pacquiao. When that whole Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao situation was going on with the steroids allegation, the needles, and the back and forth between the Pac-Tars, as they called them back in the day, and the Mayweather fans, a lot of those fans still hold grudges towards Manny Pacquiao. I guarantee if that was Mayweather that was fighting Mario Barios coming into that fight after a long layoff, all them people would have said Mayweather had a chance, Mayweather gonna win, become champion once again. Mayweather's levels above Mario Barios even at that age. And Mayweather's actually older than Pacquiao. But those same people wasn't giving Pacquiao no chance to defeat an average fighter in Mario Barios. And that's what I base my pick on, that Mario Barios is average. Some people that's Tank Davis fans, they want to blow up Mario Barios into something that he really ain't. Because really before the Tank fight, we talking about Mario Barios right now. Before the Tank fight, he took on a guy by the name of Ahmad Daliev. He lost that fight. And he took a beating from that fight. And Mario Barios really ain't never been the same from that fight. Go back and watch that fight. That was the fight before the Tank fight. Now a lot of people say, well, he was looking good in the Tank fight. He was winning early in the Tank fight. That was a fact of Tank going up in weight, fighting a much bigger guy on fight night. Look at the difference in size. Not only just, we ain't just looking at the height, but just, he was just a much bigger guy.
Respected boxing analysts agree that Pacquiao did more than enough to earn the win. Throughout the fight with Barios, he was the one pressing forward, setting the pace and keeping the action alive. Barios, on the other hand, spent much of the bout on the back foot, circling, standing still, and offering little in terms of offense. Experts who reviewed the fight closely highlighted several rounds that seemed to favor Barios despite his limited output. They felt Pacquiao's control, punch volume, and command of the ring told a different story than the judges' scorecards. For them, Manny's comeback wasn't just strong, it may have been a win.
With the draw?
No.
Because, like...
Weird rounds, hard to score.
Yeah, Pacquiao did better than I thought he did. And that's like, we get into that weird territory in boxing where you start grading on a curve. That's not how boxing works. And I was like, oh, Pacquiao's doing better. He's probably winning. Oh, he won. But no, he probably didn't. And a draw is probably, he's probably lucky to get a draw.
Yeah, as I was watching it and scoring it, and I was in the live chat with people, and there was just so many rabid Pacquiao fans that were like, every time he did anything, first of all, anytime he did anything in the arena, the place went absolutely bonkers, like it was going to tear down. He, honestly, he probably fought 50 to 60 seconds a round. He did not do much. He didn't need to, because Barios didn't step on the gas pedal at all, at any point. He was so listless and just kind of like ho-humming through it. So Pacquiao was able to steal moments, and he did a really good job of stealing the end of rounds and making an exclamation point. And also, we saw flashes of the Manny of old when he would have that little like the flourishing signature in the end of something. He'd make that little movement, bang, he'd pop that left hand, he'd fly out, boom, 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 boom. He'd make those little moves, he'd do the fancy feet, and you would be like, oh, but really nothing happened. He didn't land a lot of punches. Like, it wasn't like anything really effective. But it got everybody emotional. It got everybody, and whereas Barios was the exact opposite. Everything he did was so workmanlike. He has zero charisma. He has no sell on anything he does. He just lacked passion. I know he's Aztec warrior, but where was the passion? Where was the exchanging? Where was the biting down on my mouthpiece and going for it? So there was a lot of opportunities based on how both guys fought for Manny to actually steal rounds, because Mario wasn't selling it. Pacquiao was. The crowd was behind him. But yes, when you do it, you're looking at it almost like you're almost comparing Pacquiao to Pacquiao. You're being like, oh, he fought really good for a 46-year-old. He didn't fight really good for a 12-round main event, champion. He fought really good for a 46-year-old Pacquiao. So you get that idea in your head, like, oh man, he's doing so good. But is he really, or are you just voting for the guy that you like better?
Like, nostalgia's a hell of a and we were all high on Saturday.
What stood out most to fans and critics was Pacquiao's confidence throughout the fight. There was no hesitation, no second guessing, just full trust in his skills. He fought with purpose, threw punches with certainty, and controlled space like a true veteran. At no point did he seem like a fighter holding on to past glory. Instead, he looked like someone on a mission, still hungry to prove himself. Sadly, that effort didn't fully show up on the scorecards. While the crowd recognized his heart and performance, the judges didn't give him the credit he clearly deserved in a close and hard-fought return.
The most surprising result from last night was 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao going 12 rounds and drawing against the WBC champion. And the craziest part of all of it might be that Manny Pacquiao might have been robbed. I generally think that Manny Pacquiao might have won the fight. He looked great, he looked sharp, especially for being a 46-year-old. And this is why I told you guys that Manny Pacquiao's mentality is different. His passion for boxing is unmatched. This is why he's one of the GOATs. From what we saw, we can see that he really put in a lot of work, because in his last fight, I believe it was 5 years ago, he didn't look good. He looked slow. He looked like a 46-year-old, or a 40-year-old, because he was 40 years old back then. But he didn't look good, but he looked great. I feel if the rematch happens against Mayweather, which would honestly be an amazing fight, because they're both old now, so they don't have any excuse of being like, oh, this guy's past his prime. They're both past their prime. They're both old. But if it happens, I think Manny Pacquiao wins. Floyd Mayweather hasn't fought, and he doesn't have the same amount of passion. He fought Logan Paul and Deji, but this guy fought an actual WBC champion and looked great and could have possibly beat him. He said he's not going to stop boxing, and he honestly has no reason why to stop. Now, obviously, I don't think he's like a top 10 boxer right now, or like currently whatever, but he can hold his own. If he went against someone like Gervonta Davis, yes, he'd get murdered, but there's a lot of fighters that he can go toe-to-toe with right now. I don't know, Fall for Sport content, we're about to hit 1,000.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned and we'll see you next time.